Put This On, Season 2, Episode 23. We watched Bachelor in Paradise, Season 4, Episode 1 through, 4. It's fucking 18 hours.
Shit.
Chris Lorenz, sitting to my right is...
Brian Houston.
Sitting to my left.
Harrison Hoffman.
Sitting to his left.
James and the Hizzy.
Okay, so who do I have to blame for suckering me into watching this show?
You watched 4 hours of this show, buddy.
Oh my God.
4 freaking hours.
Should we start with the description?
If we must.
Please do.
The long-awaited 4th season of Bachelor in Paradise returns to ABC. The cast of contestants is comprised of former fan favorites and controversial characters from the Bachelor franchise. They're back, looking for another chance at love. They all left The Bachelor or The Bachelorette with broken hearts, but now they'll travel to a romantic paradise, hoping to turn a potential summer fling into the real thing. Over the course of the season, we'll follow cast members as they explore new relationships, and viewers at home will watch as they fall in love or go through renewed heartbreak. Bachelor in Paradise on ABC.
Harrison, I have a question.
What's your question?
Is it safe to assume that we can say Paradise is now open again?
I think we can assume that Paradise is open again.
Okay. Paradise is open.
I don't know if I'm happy that Paradise is open, but Paradise is open.
Paradise is open. I think somebody should address how we've gone about watching this show. So, Bachelor, the actual thing, just wrapped, right?
Bachelorette just wrapped up.
Bachelorette wrapped.
As we discussed on the last pod.
Yeah, we discussed that.
Okay.
Chris picked the winner.
Picked it. Shit,
Yeah.
did you Venmo yet? What was the thing? It was
It's $5.
Okay.
Venmo me.
Rich man. Chris is now...
So, no rest for the weary. The week after the 3-hour season finale of Bachelorette.
Right, just rolling.
This week, 2 hours on Monday, 2 hours on Tuesday, Bachelor in Paradise premiere.
I can't believe you made me watch the second 2-hour episode.
I think...
And yeah, I was going to say, so it's Wednesday, and we've watched this now 2 nights in a row to get ready for this podcast.
It's rough.
It's been a lot of something for a lot of time here.
As stated on the previous pod, I was pretty reluctant to watch this show to begin with.
Well, somebody had set up a Facebook invite. So somebody was going to be watching it whether
How the hell does this happen? Chris, how did this happen?
We're doing a podcast or not.
Okay.
Somebody tell me
here's
how
this happens. After we did the Bachelorette episode of the pod, some of us have been getting together on Tuesday nights to watch The Bachelorette and whatever season of the challenge has been on.
Just any version of the challenge.
Because both of these shows now are on all the time in various seasons. So we've been getting together to watch it. And then, so naturally, somebody set up the Bachelor in Paradise plus challenge event for this week.
Let's call it what it is. It's the Bachelor in Paradise and Dirty 30.
And Dirty 30.
It's,
right.
It's
We
D30.
can get into that later.
BIP?
D30. We're going to have a D30 update. I'm not trying to go there now, but that is the reason that we got on this Bachelor in Paradise train.
That's the reason for the season.
Right. So that was comboed last night.
Yeah.
And here we are tonight watching yet another, what was it, 2-hour block?
Yeah.
2 hours.
2 hours.
As we know, as we've talked about many times now on this pod,
it's been
this season of Bachelor in Paradise is fraught with controversy.
Of course. And this
they,
one is more
they
so.
They didn't really do a good handle it very well.
Oh,
you guys have been
God.
following the news. I didn't follow it that closely, but what's the quick version?
I've been following all the news.
I haven't been following it very closely either.
But they were dropping it in on the Bachelorette and things, right, or something.
I barely even know where to start with how they handled this. So effectively, at some point during Bachelor in Paradise, they had to shut down production of the show because one of the producers said that they should shut it down because they thought that there was a sexual assault that basically happened between 2 of the cast members on the show. Right.
I don't know. They didn't say anything about that in the show, and I didn't really read the news articles that close.
That's basically what the statement was that came out. So they shut the show down. And so
it's basically night 2 of the actual show. They were filming
I
day 2.
think it was night 1.
No, it was definitely
Night
day
2 is when they shut it down.
Oh,
but night 1 was when the thing happened.
They shut down the second
I thought
night.
it just all happened at once.
Yeah,
like somebody
it
thought
was
they
the
saw something,
second
they're
day.
like, kill it.
No. It was like the day after.
Oh,
and
then
they were like
they
they
met
were
or something.
looking at the tape with some people. I think they made a call to shut it down. Basically, is what it kind of seemed like. But they didn't really explain any of that in the show.
They didn't explain anything in the show.
And like, so
there's something that happens,
something
or somebody sees
happens.
something.
The production is shut down, and this is before we were watching the show. We're hearing
It hasn't aired or
We're
anything.
hearing
This is
through the
during the-
news,
yeah.
effectively, that
BIP
that
was shut down.
that this guy Demario, who was on the previous season of Bachelor that we watched, and another girl Corinne, who was not in a season that we watched, that something happened there.
We is a strong word there.
Right, you know.
Chris isn't going down with you on that one.
I watched one episode.
You have talked about it on a podcast, so you are familiar with Demario.
Yeah. I'm familiar with, especially since I watched this show. Before, if I didn't watch the show, I probably wouldn't have had any idea.
So basically, all that we know about this before we watch the show is that production got shut down because there's some sexual assault controversy between the two of them, and we hear that maybe there was alcohol involved. After watching the show, there's no surprise that there was some alcohol involved. And then
these people are all just sitting around a house all day drinking. That's all it's happening.
So then we hear the news that Warner Brothers, who I guess
the company. The
I don't
studio.
know. ABC's owned by Disney, so I don't know why
Oh.
Warner Brothers was
Warner
involved.
Brothers was an outside party. They said they brought an outside party.
They brought in some outside party.
Oh, I thought Chris Harrison said.
He might have said Warner
The
Brothers,
host.
but Warner Brothers would be an outside party. It's not,
Right.
That'd be a real weird.
But I thought
Anyway.
I thought he said that Warner Brothers brought in an outside party.
That's what I
to
thought
do
they
the
said
investigation.
too, but they're owned by Disney, so I don't really know why.
So,
Anyway, it's
yeah.
that's unnecessary
Well,
detail.
whoever produces and develops the show isn't necessarily where it airs. Like
Also true.
that
Could be a different production
they're
company.
Definitely different
'Kay.
most of the time.
So they bring in some outside company to come and investigate
It's Batman.
whether or not something bad happened.
Warner Brothers. It's the logo. It's the Dark Knight.
Oh my
swooping in.
God, we're talking about Bachelor in Paradise here.
dude! I'm just trying to liven it up.
I'm just trying to get through this
Okay.
bullshit.
Get through
So
This is by far the worst part of the show. Well, not by far, but
Well,
it's
the way they
definitely one of
handle
the
it
worst
for
parts
sure.
of the show.
Yeah. All right.
this
Investigation.
entire thing is the reason why this show is horrible. But okay, so they come in and they do this independent investigation. And then like some press release comes out. They're like, "Hey, our independent investigation has concluded that nothing bad happened, and that we're okay to keep shooting the show." Basically, so they restart production of the show and they keep shooting it. So that's all we know going into it. So then, as we talked about last time on the finale of Bachelorette, which was last week, it's the live show. Like they really start to promote Bachelor in Paradise, and you know Chris Harrison being the face of this thing is the one who's doing it. And every time they keep coming back to it, they keep on saying things like, "Hey, and we're gonna have a preview of the controversial new summer show that's coming out," and hyping it based on this sexual assault situation,
right.
which is the craziest fucking thing I've ever heard.
It sounds like you'd want to distance yourself from that kind of thing.
So like you have to address it if they keep shooting the show, but it's kind of crazy that they kept
a
shooting the
promo.
show and that they're even trying to salvage the season. They should have just cashed it in.
Well, and I think we're gonna get into the whole thing the way they
ABC
aired
needs
this.
that money. Needs that moolah.
I know, dude, but like the Bachelor brand is so precious, so valuable to them. I'm surprised they're even fucking with it. They should have just said, "Hey, we don't tolerate this at all. We're shutting down the
Right.
production for good."
But they're
We'll get
never,
back to
they're
this at some other
definitely
point.
gonna want to make more BIPs.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
they will,
they'll just reboot
but
it.
just not on the same set that this happened with all the same people around and right at like in 2 weeks after.
But then the
like,
next
it's
season's
just-
like, well, how are you going to prevent this from happening in the future? There's still going to be talk about it.
there will still
So
be
I
talk
think you
about
need
it,
to, like-
but you can minimize the damage by not
Well,
airing
you
the
can,
fucking season.
You can minimize the damage. We're not talking about it every 2 minutes while you're watching, while
Yeah.
you're airing the show.
Exactly. So that's how you can. Yeah. So
not only do they promote
they're
it-
hyping it based on this sexual assault situation before the show, and then so we watched last night, and every single time they go to commercial break, they're teasing the explanation. There's like, and later on we're gonna talk about
No, they're
this
like,
whatever.
Later on, production gets shut
down production. Like they're
But let's
they're
first
teasing
find
it.
out what
They're
happened.
teasing it. They're teasing it. They're teasing it the whole episode, and then in the end of the first episode is
It's a
production is
cliffhanger.
shut down,
Right.
and they use this sexual assault situation as a fucking cliffhanger on the show.
I
It's
told
the
you they were gonna
crazy-
do that from the beginning.
You told me, but I didn't believe that they would stoop to that. It's just
Well,
crazy.
Not only that, they start the second episode with a check out, come in later when we restart production and we talk about it. But
Yeah.
meanwhile, watch this boring ass wedding.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
So-
dude, you said that like this whole conversation was the worst part. No, it was definitely the wedding.
Okay, that was the most boring part of the show, no doubt. I mean, like,
Brian is spot on here.
I didn't say boring. I said
So
worst
right.
part.
So
No,
that
I'm
was
saying
all.
the wedding was
No.
wedding is the worst part.
Well, this like controversy, how they did it was the worst part.
Like-
they're just like
Here-
every commercial, everything about it. 3 hours into the show, you talk about it for 10 minutes and you move on. Like, what is that bullshit?
it was some garbage. It was some real garbage. Like, I can't even handle it. Like,
Did anybody else even feel like they kind of made light of it?
Chris Harrison's tone during the show was so off. It's like every time he would be stepping out on that beach, fucking barefoot, making light of the situation. Like, it was not good.
No, it was not.
It was not good.
And then the conversation that he had with the entire cast when everybody came back was so awful.
Like it was like that was the quietest that I think I've ever heard. Like our room as we're watching a show is when that discussion was going on, though, because it was like insane TV. Like I don't know that it should have been TV, but it was insane TV.
I just don't know how you
Yeah.
talk about it. Like, it's just like
It's hard to talk.
They had a
about.
It was like-
conversation about sexual sexual assault on national TV.
Yeah, like
It's insane.
so basically when they bring them back after the production shutdown, like they sit them all around like group discussion style, and Chris Harrison just moderates this group discussion about what happened.
I mean, like, we saw the footage of DeMario. What's her name?
Corinne.
They were hammered, both of them.
At all times in the show, pretty much everybody has a drink in their hand at all times in the show.
I feel
to
like-
be clear though, it's hard to tell what they're drinking in it. And
It is
one
hard to tell
woman
what
on the
they're
show said she doesn't drink alcohol.
It is
so-
hard to tell, but it does seem like they're drinking a lot. And
Sure.
the bartender is a character on the show. That's how much they're drinking.
we'll get
Like-
into that. But yeah.
We can talk about that in a second. But
Yeah, so they're like both really drunk. So like, there definitely seems like that shit could have went down that night, which shit went down. But they'd never talk about like anything with the footage, who shut it down, what shut it down. Did the person accuse of somebody? Was there accusations? There's
Right.
nothing.
they
don't talk
definitely
about
never
any of that.
explain any of the details of what happened. They just kind of
or even what the allegations or anything were.
no. They don't talk
even,
about
They don't even touch that.
any of that stuff.
They're just like, yeah, got to get that consent. You know, got to fill out that form.
They definitely had. Yeah, they asked. Chris Harrison went to every single person and asked if they like understood consent and wanted to be on the show or something.
Yeah. I mean, that the whole like group discussion thing just felt like such an orchestrated like PR moment. They're just like, we got one shot to save this thing, and if these people better be saying the right things,
well, they
or
could
else
just
it's gonna
shoot
look
all
horrible.
day to get like the right.
The right lines. They could.
Yeah, that whole thing probably was like going on for an hour.
Yeah, that whole situation was insane. And then like it kind of took this weird turn into like them talking about what it's like being on a reality show and like how people think about you being on a
Oh,
reality show
right.
and whether or not the producers are manipulating people on the show and all like that stuff was kind of crazy too.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, the producers don't need to do much in the show because all these people are sitting in this like house drinking
There's
with
not-
nothing to
right.
do,
Like-
except for talk to somebody else. Like, what are the producers gonna do?
Like the producers don't need it to do much, but when they do it, like it's effective and it's obvious. Like
The date cards are
there was
very
one
obvious.
episode there was one situation in that first episode where this one guy was like, yeah, like I really like this one girl, but like it seems like I haven't really gotten a lot of time with her, so I'm gonna go try and get some time with her to kind of whatever. And she was he's like ooh, like I'm kind of worried that she's spending too much time with this other guy, and I want to get in there, make sure. And like he sits down next to her, and 10 seconds later, somebody comes in with, oh, there's a date card, and that girl's getting matched up with the guy he was worried about. Like they definitely do some of that kind of
there's
stuff.
that's fine, but
Yeah.
you're not like, hey, go out there and call that girl like a
Yeah.
like a C word or something. Like,
There's definitely different levels of how you can set things up.
whereas like when I watch like terrible reality shows, that's exactly what it seems like.
It's like, I don't believe that it's scripted and that they're telling them what to do, but I do believe that they're creating situations with intended things to happen.
I mean,
like,
as we've talked, like reality shows where like producers set up the situation and then people have to deal with it.
right, exactly.
Whereas like sometimes it's, you know, when you're in different shows aren't like that. Like a documentary is just following a situation.
Yeah.
So a question on that though for this show, like, So they do the confessional thing, like the one-on-one, them, the camera. In that moment, there's a producer there, like asking them questions or something, right? Do you think they intentionally try to steer that conversation in particular ways because they have obviously more insight knowledge than this cast member does? So, like, that could be manipulative in some degree. I don't know if they do that or not. I'm not accusing them of it, but I'm just curious. Like,
I think that the producers certainly use anything that they hear anybody say to try and steer things. And I think, like that's what happened with that date card situation. Like, he said in a testimonial that he was feeling this way and the situation happened, and the producers exacerbated it, right?
Right. But even further than that, not just getting info from them, but, like, asking particular questions like, so what do you think about so-and-so?
Oh, they definitely do that stuff.
Right.
They definitely ask them probing questions. And, like, they will sit there and ask them 100 questions, like, to get, like, one interesting answer out of them, right?
That's the other thing with that whole thing, too. Because, like, often when you're watching this show, you wonder, why would you say that? Or, like, you come off like a real idiot. But, like, what you're not seeing is all of the things they're saying for, like, hours that they're sitting there being asked all these questions about whatever.
Yeah, or even just the one-on-one conversations between the people in the cast. It's like they snip out this little piece that makes you look like an idiot. And it's just...
Like, Alex in this episode was just not coming across great.
And it's just the way they edit it and that kind of stuff.
Right.
All right.
Yeah,
let's take a step back.
Yeah.
Let's talk about episode 1. So, like, episode 1...
Oh, man. You want to break these things down?
Well, I'm just going to... Like, the intro takes, like, a half hour. Where they intro each character one by one is so boring.
We are 4 hours into the show and they're still introducing characters.
Yeah.
Like, this is happening.
They introed like 18 people. I have no idea who they are for like a half hour, one at a time. And it was just like, can we like move it along a little bit?
And it was like a delayed intro too. It wasn't like, okay, one after the other. It was like, a couple hours goes by.
Yeah.
No, here's somebody else. And then it's like, then it's nighttime and we're like, oh, here's some more people.
Totally. It's just rolling over days. It's like
people showed up on day 2.
Days.
Yeah.
People are still showing up.
Oh yeah, they teased yet another new character on this episode, episode 2.
There's just a constant rotation because like people will be like, yeah, like I can't find anybody here.
Oh, is that just the format of the Paradise thing? Like
I don't
they
really
keep
know.
a certain pool of people, like they don't whittle.
I mean, they
got
to kick somebody out, right? Like
I don't know actually.
You
like
don't
maybe
have to keep people out. Like they could keep people out and bring new people in. It's like the people who aren't interested and get booted.
Well,
and
it's like
new
so.
people.
The premise of the show is at some point one gender gets to a rose to give to another gender, and then anyone that doesn't have a rose is off the show.
Right.
So there's like 8 girls and like 12 guys in the show right now or something.
Yeah.
And so 4 guys are going home, but next week there's 8 guys and 8 girls who goes home. Like, does one guy not get a rose? Like, how does that work?
Since
we watched 4 hours of the show, I think I would know, but nope. Not even see one rose ceremony in 4 hours of this motherfucking show.
I cannot believe we didn't get a rose ceremony.
Not one.
Some bullshit.
But you know what we did have time for?
Like 5 weddings?
A lot of wedding recaps and the compilation video.
We're talking episode 1 right now. Okay?
Oh, shit. I'm sorry.
We gotta roll it back.
You're the one that went to 4 hours.
You got me all excited about 4 hours.
Sorry.
No rose ceremony.
So I have a comment here about when they're coming in. There was lots of judging, reminding me a lot of Naked Attraction.
On the way in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were like, ooh, look at those abs. And, I bet he's got a big pecker in there.
That dude's got a 12-pack.
Yeah, that's too many abs. Stop working out, dude.
Too many abs.
Well, that one guy's like nickname is like Ken Doll or something like that.
Yeah.
Ben?
He didn't show up
Ben?
till like the second hour.
Second
He was
day.
like-
Second day. Yeah,
Yeah,
he was
he
a
was
late
a-
arrival.
He was a late arrival.
You think his flight got delayed, or you think they stage
No,
it?
I think
They're
it's-
staging it.
It's not a CJ situation.
Super weird.
Could have been.
was-
I mean,
don't know.
So
I
Raven,
guess that for when they restart production, they all managed to get there at the same time. So,
right.
like,
But I think Raven was the very first girl.
Raven was the first one.
She seems like she's gonna be in the show for like the season.
I guess.
I
I don't know.
I don't know if that's
have
good
no
or bad.
idea.
I don't know how the show works because, as Chris
Jesus.
says, we still don't know.
So the other thing we should mention is that the entire first episode is pre-production shutdown.
Yes, correct.
So it's all the stuff that happens before the production shutdown, which is also like that also makes it super crazy to watch though, because like on the way in, they're like Chris Harrison is interviewing all these people
Chris
as they're
Harrison-
walking into the resort, and so he obviously interviews Corinne and Demario on the way in, and like the kinds of things that
Oh,
they're
man.
saying in those interviews, like Demario got booted from the last season because he had a secret girlfriend back home who came on the show and accused him of going on the show, so he got thrown off.
No. He had a girl that thought she was his girlfriend.
That
He
would
said
be
wasn't her.
Demario's explanation of it. Correct.
Brian is definitely correct here. That is what he said.
It is also correct
We don't
that-
know. All this shit's probably who knows.
It is also correct that Demario had a key to her place, so I don't know. Things might have been a little serious.
You know,
the thing is, he did leave the show. Like, it wasn't like,
Yeah.
you're not my girlfriend, and like walk away. Like, he didn't do that.
He tried to. When she walked up, he said, "Who's that?" He said, "Who are you?" Remember when he said that?
No.
Oh, it's fucking
You
crazy.
definitely can't play like you don't know the person.
it's
That's
like-
a bit
it's
much.
like- he's walking. It's like, "Who's that? Who's that?" Like, yeah, it's that girl
It's
whose key you have, you idiot.
That doesn't seem
anyway,
great.
It's the
so-
Shaggy defense.
So it wasn't me. So on this one, they're like Chris Harrison's interviewing all these people, and he does his Corinne Demario interviews, and like Demario is like, oh yeah,
He goes on about this.
I'm here for redemption. Like,
Yeah.
Last time, I kind of lost myself. I'm here for redemption. I'm really here to find love and all this shit. And man, like it's like
I dumped that
stuff-
girl by the side of the road.
Yeah, like that stuff's hard to watch. Like knowing what happens, like that stuff's hard to watch.
It's hard to watch even when they're teasing all the shit the whole time.
Yeah.
Like making it worse. His comment though to Corinne, I thought was rather standoutish when
What did it say?
in that. So he has the one-on-one with Corinne, which he approaches, right? And the way he ends the interview is he says, "And just remember, paradise is a great place to take naps."
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
It's
have
such a
comment about
weird
naps.
fucking thing to say.
that is a weird thing to say.
It's really weird to say when like there's an allegation about somebody being so drunk they don't remember what happened and like they were potentially passed out and potentially.
Well, we don't know who's making the accusation.
We don't know anything because
We don't
we've
know
only
any-
watched 4 hours of the
We
show.
don't know any details about it. We all know there's a
But I'm just-
there's
like,
just
who makes a nap comment like that? Like,
Maybe because we missed part of the conversation about naps. Maybe that.
or maybe it's because she later has passed out and there's an
don't think that's-
allegation.
You think it was Chris Harrison foreshadowing her sexual assault? Oh my goodness!
I
All
think the
right.
show is trying to cover their ass so hard.
Do you think that they shot those interviews?
They also showed a series of shots of her saying "siesta, fiesta" just over and over a bunch. Like she's like singing like "siesta, fiesta, it's Mexico, woo!" And like it's also very weird, especially when you know what's coming.
Like, yeah, it's and
I think they're trying to set her up, like trying to set themselves up, like
Obviously, they have to.
This entire thing, like, we weren't there. We obviously
We don't know
what
shit.
we don't know anything that happened, but like they tried to portray. It seemed that they tried to portray the whole situation in the best possible light here. Like there were a lot of shots of Corinne and Demario like
having a good time,
being happy together, having a good time, being really flirty. Like there was a lot of that kind of stuff, which felt really weird to
they
be
were
seeing.
just. They just all seemed real
Because
drunk.
you're just seeing like you're seeing like the precursor to this situation basically, and it's I don't know.
Well, the only thing we know is that she claimed to be some sort of victim. I don't know.
I have no
don't know.
idea.
Yeah. Anyway, this show just like goes off the rails. I don't even know what happens after these intros. They're just like.
It's the same thing that keeps happening in the show because
Right.
nothing has happened. All that happens is it's
Tease.
it's daytime and they're sitting around on the beach and they're drinking and they're in cabanas and they're drinking and they're talking. And then it's nighttime
and they're in the pool,
and they're in the pool, but then they're at the bar or they're sitting at the cabanas drinking and talking. And then they don't show anybody go to bed or really do anything. Then all of a sudden it's daytime again. And they're sitting around with drinks and they're talking.
and every once in a while there's a date card or
Yeah,
somebody walks up and
sometimes-
is like, "Hey, can I talk to you for a second?" And like
Yeah.
takes them aside and tries to talk with
Well,
them with a drink.
it's like the Big Brother model where you just stick people in a room and
Right.
then you film them.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
And
totally what
it's
it is.
like,
Just like, hey, you got to stay in this
And but-
Mexican beach house.
you have to subscribe to this mantra of find love, which I don't know. It just like sets a weird tone for the whole show. Just like,
I think that you just go there and everyone's intentions are clear, so everyone's just
are they
Flirting hard.
Demaro's definitely not out there to find his true love. I don't think so.
I have no idea what Demario's intentions were.
All right,
Oh,
maybe
man.
a bad person.
What
but,
about-
but I bet it wasn't
Yeah.
what happened.
But like some people are definitely looking for like a long-term relationship. I think most of them are there to like have fun, aka bang a bunch of people. So
Yeah.
like I don't
on TV.
Whereas, like, is that what the love mantra equates to? Like, for some people, and some people have different love mantras. It's like weird when they bring it up.
I think that the steady state is that you just go have a fun, sexy time in paradise, and then sometimes people get married out of it. Like, I don't think it's like
you gotta like form a bond with somebody, or you're gonna get kicked off.
There's definitely a game element a little bit to that.
You got to have somebody that's into you like all the time.
But
like not
like,
too obvious, because
like,
then you're all in on one. If something happens, then you know.
But wouldn't the best scenario be like, okay, me and you, you know, you're hot, I'm hot. Let's like just like make it to the end of this fucking game. Like, what the fuck?
Well, because it's not it's not like a competition to make it to the end. Like, people are just trying to. Like, bang, I don't know. Like, I'm not really sure. Like,
I'm not really. Exactly. What is the point?
It's like you're on there to try to find love, I guess.
So what happens when you roll through all the girls or guys on the show?
Then no one gives you a rose and you leave the show.
Right. Dude. Like, I don't think there's like a competition element of like reducing the audience. I think there's just a pool of people, and like as relationships don't work out, those people go away and they replace a few other people. And then, like, people are like, oh, there's these new people. Maybe I'm into them. They start talking and whatever.
That's where it seems like it's
and maybe
going.
it flips around, right? Like, so, like, the one couple that seems obvious, maybe somebody new comes in the mix and they start talking to somebody and, like, kind of changes it up.
I can say one thing. This show is ripe for polydick practice.
The whole show is polydicking.
That's the show.
That's all the show is.
Polydicking the show.
Which is better than we can say about the Dirty 30 this week.
Ooh, what if we can
Spoilers.
get like a Bachelor in Paradise challenge crossover?
No, that's what I thought. That's what I'd want. Is like fun all these Bachelor people into a better show instead of this Bachelor in Paradise show.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's definitely not my target.
I don't think it's even close to as good as Bachelorette was. Like, it's just I don't know. Like, I couldn't. I could barely watch the show.
We're watching the show, and like sometimes you'll see a couple together, like a couple times. You're like, oh, they must be like, you know, they're getting along, whatever. But then the next scene, she's with somebody else, and they're like, I wasn't gonna give him a rose. I'm like, what is it? Like, I don't.
It'd be interesting to see what this show is like on a non-insane season, because I think that there were things happened when they took 2 weeks off. I think, and
I think the reset definitely
people kind of cooled on some relationships for sure.
There's a lot less drinking on when they got back.
I definitely noticed that too. They were going at it hard at the beginning.
The first episode was like, you know, you just turned 21 drinking, I think. Like,
yeah, they're like, fuck it, we're in Mexico, we're partying on Paradise.
I think one of my problems with this show is that it played too heavily into like the scripted ways to keep you hooked for a reality show, versus like Bachelor, Bachelorette. They didn't play it that much. Like, the drama like kind of played it, like it lent itself to like keep me engaged. I
guess that the storyline of Bachelorette is easier to follow too, because like this is like this person, this relationship with this person, they're whatever.
So there's just too many people on the show.
There's a lot of people.
There's a lot of people,
and it's just going to keep getting worse.
No. I think there's just like a shuffling of people. I think that's gonna like roughly like the cast size will stay roughly about the same.
But yeah, you miss one episode and all of a sudden you're like, who the hell are these people? What happened?
Oh yeah,
dude, they don't make enough progress in 2 hours. Shockingly, on this episode, that you don't really miss that much, and they recap most of everything anyways.
It's like Game of Thrones first couple episodes. They're rolling so many characters out here. It's hard to deal with.
I wonder.
Is that's on tape, right? Like, yeah. Bachelor in Paradise. It's like Game of Thrones
Game
level.
Game of Thrones first episode. A lot of characters.
I think that might be the description.
A lot of characters.
Yeah, we told them.
Maybe that's what really happened. Somebody got beheaded.
But
so do you think this first episode would have ended with the rose ceremony if the production didn't get shut down?
You mean the fourth hour or the second hour? Second hour. I have no idea, dude. It seems like it.
It seems like if it was a rose ceremony at the end of 2 hours, I definitely would have. This show would be up another third of a tier.
I could barely watch it. Nothing happened. I could barely watch it, and the parts that were interesting were horrifying.
Right.
Like,
well, I think that's why we didn't get to the rose ceremony, is because they had to do like that segment on like all the stuff. They're like, hey, we got to do this thing.
You didn't have to do that wedding thing. That wedding thing.
No. But like, I think they're like, how are we going to fill the time? Like, well, let's just do this wedding shit. Like, let's get that out there.
I don't understand. So like, people sit around for 4 hours of watching the show and aren't bored out of their fucking minds. Like, you've got to be kidding me.
I just don't think they had enough time to like get the right edit or whatever on this, because like they stopped production and everything. Like, this thing's just rolling. So like,
I don't.
Are you saying we should watch next week's episode to see if it's any better?
oh
no,
god.
absolutely not. All right,
Gosh.
all right. So do we? I got some comments about the first episode. Let me see whatever we're done.
So while you're pulling it up, the one thing I do like about this compared to Bachelor or Bachelorette is it's a lot more believable in terms of the situation. Because at least it's like roughly,
Situation's
a
more
decent
real.
number of people. It's not just like 20 dudes and one girl and all the dudes are trying to hit on the same girl. Because like to me, it's just like that. This is a dumb situation.
It's definitely a more natural
Right.
dating situation.
And it's not just like
I guess
Rachel just making out with 20 dudes all on the same night.
for sure.
And like I'm just like, yeah, no,
this
obviously
is a
this isn't
much
gonna work.
more real situation.
But
right.
like,
so I got to give the
I
show
think
one
that-
thing, and it's definitely that.
I think that part of what makes The Bachelorette good, though, is that you get to know The Bachelorette so well that, like, you think that you can judge the people on the show based on her criteria. And it's just like, that person's not right for her. She said all this shit. And, like, I feel like you just don't get the depth of characters with this one, like, to be able to do that kind of
The
stuff.
2 minutes everyone gets.
Exactly.
Like
So-
I don't think Iggy was even in the last episode.
Iggy. Gosh.
But like, do you think for like longtime Bachelor or Bachelorette fans that they just know these people super well,
They
so
might.
they don't need it?
It's kind of like, I guess it's kind of like Bachelor All-Stars, so maybe.
Well, I mean, so like, I don't want to bring up Demario too much, but like he was in the last season for what, like half an episode?
Yeah, he was, no, for sure. But
so like, no one knows him.
But no, everyone knows him though because he made a huge impression in that half episode.
But you don't know it. Like you know his name, but you don't know who he is.
No, for sure.
Like some of the other people, like were the runners up. So like you've seen like a whole season of that guy.
yeah, you definitely don't know who Demario is.
I have a question about Demario.
No,
What do you think his next like TV thing from here is?
I
Or
think
is he
Demario's
screwed?
going to stay off the TV for a little bit.
I don't
Yep.
think any reality shows putting him on.
Not even
And-
the challenge.
No,
No.
no way.
No.
They don't want to. Yeah, they definitely
And
don't want to risk.
like
So he's just screwed.
we don't know
basically.
what happened.
We don't know what happened, but
like,
he's essentially
like-
blacklisted.
Diggy actually kind of dug into this during that group discussion a bit when he was like, "Hey, like if he actually didn't do anything wrong, like
Right.
this is a horrible long-term situation for him because now he has all this stuff attached to his name forever and so on and so on and so on." So like, he's definitely in a bad situation,
Right.
either way. Like, obviously worse if he's guilty of some actual crime or something like that.
Sure.
But yeah.
I mean, now his name's like forever. Like anytime he said it. Anytime
Yeah.
you get looked up, okay, well, there's going to be this article
There's
right
no
next
doubt.
to it.
Like it's yeah. I mean, this is what he's famous for, and it definitely sucks if he didn't do anything wrong because that's basically like the producers of the show ruined that dude's life.
Right.
Yep.
I guess it equally
But-
sucks for Corinne too in this situation.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
for sure.
And obviously, like again, don't know all the details of the situation. So
Yeah,
but like equally, just in terms of like TV and stuff, like it's like she's probably screwed as well.
it's definitely bad all around for all these people.
yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Chris Harrison though,
So-
16 years and running.
Chris
as
Harrison
a host
is so peppy about the whole situation. It is disturbing.
All right. I think we beat that to death. I don't think we need to bring it up.
No, I'm just
again.
saying, Chris Harrison
This
is
the
just like,
only
all
int-
right, let's get
this
back
is like,
to it.
This whole situation is literally the only interesting thing to talk about in this show. Who fucking cares about these people making out?
What about the 80s intro that we had to see twice?
The intro was great, though.
The
Okay.
intro is
the
pretty-
intro.
Intro is legit.
Is it? Man, it's crazy. Can you? What? Somebody's got to give a.
It was okay. So directly after this super serious group discussion about this sexual assault situation, it's just the very next shot, and we don't realize that it's the intro for a second. It's just very next shot is this all the guys just dancing around in the water to
Like
like
Baywatch
this
style.
insane music, Baywatch style.
Was Demario in the intro in the second episode?
Demario was not in the intro anymore.
Was he in the intro the first day?
He was.
That's weird. Why not just remove him from the first episode?
Because he's in the first episode. You can't
Yeah, then
you
you're
can't forget
foreshadowing.
about it. Also, this time, did you notice that Chris Harrison called it New Paradise?
I saw a New Paradise.
New Paradise.
There was something else too along that front.
So the contestants, do they get paid to be on the show?
Definitely not.
I kept asking this during the show. I'm like, what are they getting
Well,
paid?
no, we're bringing it up on the podcast.
These people are definitely not getting paid to be on this show.
So, like, is there any incentive to just not find somebody and just stay on the show?
get airtime.
the
just like
incentive is
you're
that
on-
you get more famous and you can charge more for sponsored posts on Instagram and shit.
You could be an Instagram
That
Social
one
media.
guy's entire job is a social media influencer or something.
Kendall.
Yeah.
Kendall.
Fucking
Yeah.
like
So,
it is
like-
like it's super weird that that's the guy's title too, because all these people on these shows like are all famous on social media and can all charge
Well, it's
money for
like-
ads
yeah.
and shit. Like,
It's so weird that like little descriptors of people are like JoJo's season and Rachel's season and like Penguin.
Penguin, yeah.
Penguin,
The Penguin
guy in
guy.
the penguin suit.
You know, it was Penguin
They're
guy.
like, you know, Penguin, yeah.
who
And,
was the shark?
you know,
There's also a shark
social
person.
media influencer.
one of the girls was the shark.
Yeah, I'm trying to
And
think.
okay, so one of the girls is the shark, but then
Calls
when
it
she
a
takes off,
dolphin.
she calls it a dolphin, and like her little thing underneath her name just says dolphin.
Yeah, yeah.
Very strange.
Apparently, watchers of the show. One of our friends who's a avid watcher of the show was like, "Oh yeah, she calls it a dolphin. It's a whole thing." And then, sure enough, oh my god,
Unclear if she thinks that it is a dolphin or she's just running with the joke at this
Yeah.
point.
I think she's just running with it.
I think so,
yeah.
but maybe not originally.
So
It's weird.
like watching the first episode, I had this comment that the show would be much better with a graph of everyone's blood alcohol content.
Oh yeah.
I would love that just floating next to them the whole time. Just
but after episode 2, I don't know with like all the
Episode
things that
2
went. I'm
definitely
like,
simmered that alcohol.
that's
the
down.
why.
tone.
That's why they need it, so they can. If it's getting too out of hand, they can step in before it's a problem.
No, because then they're like on the actual hook. They're like, well, you guys knew exactly when people were over the line drunk, and you should have stepped in.
You're like
Yeah.
at like 0.8, you should be stopping.
Well,
Right.
If
That's the
if you
reality.
establish some kind of legal baseline for that, I don't know.
I think that's why like the drunk meter isn't a thing. Is because like they're like, we're definitely not taking responsibility for that shit.
Well, I think it's less about I think it's just about it looking bad on the show. Like it's when you're watching it too. It's like, these people are sauced all the time on the show.
But you definitely want it. You want to know.
Oh yeah,
I mean, you don't like
It's kind of clear.
yeah.
when people are slurring their words, you know.
Didn't the one guy like come on super strong to one of the girls and he was just way drunk? And she's like,
All
I can't
the
talk to
time.
you.
Yeah, there was one guy that
No, but like one guy specifically, I can't remember. Nick
there was
or
one guy that
something,
missed out because he was too drunk, and then his girl got with some other dude because he
started
was just way
making
too
out
drunk.
immediately.
Yeah.
So like this other dude that I was digging was drunk, so I'm gonna make out with you.
He was like, I came to the show to date you specifically, and then
Oh,
he
yeah,
got
that
too,
dude was
then he
real
got
creepy.
too drunk to date her.
No,
Exactly.
I mean, that put her off to begin with.
It is a little weird.
I mean, I won't get too much into the
No,
drama.
nah, she like was pretty flattered at first. At least that's what
I
she
thought
said.
she was like,
You don't
I
think
thought
so?
it was just too creepy.
Could have been.
And she liked that other guy more. I don't know.
Penguin.
The penguin. Dude, I think Penguin guy also judged the Santa Claus guy. So there's also a Santa Claus guy that shows up with just the Santa hat and the beard.
He had,
And
like, zero
Penguin guy's like, what? You couldn't get the whole suit?
He's
you're,
like,
you're just gonna do that?
if you have a costume, you got to be all in.
Yeah.
I don't even know who the hell that is. I know that's the thing, but I don't think he's been on the show since. I don't think.
Is
I
one of
bet
the
he
guys
has.
just
we
don't recognize him.
without the beard.
but it doesn't say Santa on
guy.
the bottom,
It
so
does
I don't
not
know.
say Santa. It's because he didn't commit.
He didn't commit.
Let's see. I also there was a point where somebody had to leave the show because their grandfather died.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then Iggy
yeah.
was telling everyone else, yeah, she had to leave because her grandma died, and totally said grandma.
We went
And
back, dude. We went back.
The
We bent over
subtitles
close.
say grandpa, but he totally said grandpa.
I don't
And
think
you
so,
had to
dude.
call it out.
We'll get some of those forensic, we'll get a forensic analysis in here, slow it down.
We need some kind of linguist.
Maybe you could have done a Google what Google thought it
You
would
just
be.
need a lip reader. That's all you need. And
Well,
they'll tell
you couldn't see the lips.
Yeah, it was
You
too-
couldn't?
It was all
his
audio.
back was too-
Oh, so it's like an audio speech linguist specialist kind of.
yeah.
yeah.
Well, shit. We need that person from the movie with the three-legged alien things. With the circular language. You know what I'm talking about? What movie was that? The Arrival.
Arrival.
Yeah, you're
really
looking at me
hoping-
like I had three
I
legs.
was really hoping
like-
James wouldn't get it.
God damn it. See, I got nothing.
legs?
Brian, see, this is why you got to be here. I got
Just
nothing to work with
sitting
here.
there.
They got
I
three
got
legs.
Chris Harrison sitting over here just judging
hating on
me.
you
had more
so
than
hard.
3 legs.
Yeah,
They're
dude,
like
just
waiting for me to
octopus
fail.
things.
They're like those big octopus guys.
Yeah.
They're not 3 legs.
Oh, what?
They have
Like
more
they
than-
show you three
they're
legs most time.
3-legged. I was
I was
you talking
thinking-
about a hydra,
Some kind of tripod animal.
You're just
Oh
like
my
what?
god!
I
You
got it
knew
when
what
you
I was
said.
talking about.
When you said circular language, I knew,
Yeah.
but I wanted to see if you'd flop
See,
there.
you see the shit I got to deal
Speaking of
with.
circles, let's circle back to this conversation about. Like,
Thank
wait,
God,
and
Brian.
the
keep
goddamn-
this
Wait,
on
all
the
right, all
rails.
right, James.
Oh,
do you think
now,
it was,
now everybody, the host.
do you think
over
it
here wants
was
to get us
grandpa
back.
or grandma?
I thought he said grandma, but it was grandpa that was dead. And the subtitles clearly said grandpa, but I don't believe them.
That's what I was just talking about.
I think the
Do you
producers
agree
gave him a
with me?
freebie there.
I pretty clearly heard grandpa, and I think that he kind of mumbled the end of it, so it's kind of like a grandpa, kind of like
There was no
Clearly,
cuss sound.
there's definitely grandma.
grandma.
Brian, where are you,
It was
where are you
grandma.
on this?
You're not even close.
I'm on the side that I heard grandma.
Yep.
I really want to go back to the tape and just be like,
We watched it like 3
Yo,
times.
we did
Three or
not.
four-
Like,
yeah, we
no,
did.
I
We
want to like
totally
slow
did.
it down. I
We
want to like.
did. Brian.
Why would they be covering for Iggy if he said the wrong thing? They was made a big reality show deal out of the fact they didn't know which grandparent died.
I don't know. I don't know why they didn't do it.
Like, did you hear that she told Iggy that her grandma died, and then he told everybody that grandpa died? Or like, it'd been a whole thing. Like,
People like doing this closed captioning are also watching the show, so like they could have also just been like, oh, like
He said grandpa.
yeah,
It's
like I
possible.
heard him wrong.
it's possible.
I mean, I swear it was grandma.
Yeah. 3-1. There you have it. Majority.
Who
That's
put this
how it
on-
works.
Who put this on has spoken. You can tweet at us if you have a different.
yeah, we need one of those like live polls.
I'm going to
or
download this
something.
episode and like clip out that specifically and let the users decide.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah. So like, the first episode after the second episode was probably the worst episode of one of the worst episodes of reality TV I've seen. Like, the wedding thing was just like I mean, the people here, I was like, we gotta fast forward through this. I don't know who these people are. They're not introing them well. They're doing a lot of old Bachelor stuff. Like, nothing that I or people that have like coming new to the show care about at all.
Yeah.
Like, it really was misplaced.
It was pretty rough.
Especially after like they tee up the last episode with that controversy. Then right after this, you do the controversy. I'm like, just like, you got to roll right into it so that we can move
Just
on.
Get it out of the
They
way.
got to get out of the way. They were
But they were-
dragging it out. Like that's the thing. They didn't want to get it out of the way. They wanted to milk it for as long as possible to get those ratings because that's everyone's tuned in to see that discussion, and like
Right.
they're fucking
Dragging
shitty for
ass.
doing that.
Yeah, but I would have
like,
turned the TV off. Like, literally, it was that bad. I would have
horrible.
changed channel and not known when to come back because it was that bad.
The only thing that I'll say about the wedding is that the guy that got married in his vows, part of his vows was he said, "I'll promise never to stop exploring your body," and that's a weird fucking thing to say
He
in
said
your wedding vow.
exploring you. He didn't say your.
Didn't he?
He
I thought it was
implies
his body.
your body. He did
Exploring
not say your
you.
It
body.
doesn't matter. It's weird either
It
way.
was the way
It's weird.
it was the way he said it.
He winked.
It was
He
the way
like,
he said it.
exploring you. Wink.
It's the way he said it, and then
Did he say wink or did he
and then
actually
the
wink?
girl was like, "My parents are here.
Yeah.
Settle down."
Which is exactly why I think they're together.
Could be.
You know.
Yeah. I thought was did we get confirmation that the Paradise weddings always happen like more on the cheap version, beach wedding, and the normal Bachelor Bachelorette was like the Big Bang weddings?
It seems.
I don't know. I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's what it seemed like.
It seemed like they might be spending more on the Bachelor Bachelorette weddings.
Obviously, they're going to spend more on the Bachelor weddings. Like, what do you think this is?
people know those characters more,
Like
and
Bachelor in
and the show
Paradise?
gets a lot more viewers.
Bachelor in
Oh,
Paradise,
really?
they had to wait
Yeah.
like a whole year to get married. Like, you know, the last season ended last summer, so they just got married a week before this season. So it was like a whole year, or like 9 months or whatever. Bachelor wedding probably happens like immediately afterwards.
It's just
or,
like the next episode.
No,
next
dude,
month.
that's not how it works. Like
No?
they get engaged. Like most of the time, they get engaged and they just never get married.
Yeah, I mean, just
in that
like if
show.
you get married, when does it happen?
it's definitely not like on the finale of the show. It's like
Do they get
later.
engaged on the finale?
Yeah,
Okay, but that's like the finale engagement. And then,
yeah. Like the finale is that the dude proposes to the girl.
I see.
Yeah,
I mean, and then once the show actually starts, post the stuff, it was like real somber, like the whole episode.
of course. Yeah,
Yeah, they just had that insane like
And then,
conversation.
like everything they talk about, I was like, yeah, but after this couple weeks, I don't know if I'm into you anymore. I'm like,
no, totally,
what?
dude.
Like,
This is why you don't restart the production of this show like this, because it leaves a bad taste in the audience's mouth. It's like it taints the way you watch the show.
Well, it's just like
Like-
we watching episode 1 again, and you didn't finish it again. Like,
Yeah.
you got so close to the end of the episode the first day, then the second time you didn't finish the episode again. Like, you could have at least cut that wedding bullshit and finished a whole episode.
I can't even imagine watching the show any more than we have. I cannot watch any more of the show where nothing happens.
We watched 4 hours of the show. 0 people kicked off the show. Well,
Nothing happened.
Like 0 rose ceremonies.
2 people are
nothing.
gone from the show. To be fair,
I mean,
to be fair,
I realized and tried to correct myself. 0 things that kick people out of the show actually happened. Like, I
I
don't
mean,
have
I
much
guess
to
you
say
could
about
argue
it.
maybe one of the craziest things that's happened on the show.
The craziest thing that's
Definitely.
ever happened in the
Two
show.
people are kicked off. Like, production has stopped. Maybe this is the most fascinating season yet. Who knows? I don't know. But it's just filmed and shot, and like it comes across in a weird way for sure.
Well, it's like because they had to use these 2 premiere episodes to try and do like a PR save, basically. So
Right.
like, it's just what it
And
feels
they
like.
did a poor job.
It's just what it feels like, and yeah,
That
and it
when
did-
the thing is, they weren't doing a PR job. They were like, if you're doing a PR job, you like mention it.
You
to
get through it.
You get
That
the
is-
end of the first episode. You deal with it. Then the second episode starts. You forget about
That
it.
is a way to tackle it. That's not the way that they decided to tackle it. They decided to tackle it by doubling down on like people
Hyping
coming
it.
on our properties actually fall in love and get married. Look at how happy these people are. Look at how happy the people that were involved in the sexual assault are. Check out how okay with this situation everyone on the show is. Like that's
and
the
look at all
strategy they
these
ran.
look at all these people that get married out of it. See, it's so successful, Chris.
That's the strategy they ran, and it was crazy that they tried to do it because it didn't work at all. Like
Terrible. This show is also like, I don't care if these people find love. So like, I like the motivations for me watching the show are very low. It's just like, oh, I'm here to find love. I mean, you're surrounded by all these hot guys. I mean, like, if you can't find it there, I don't know. Like,
with all the time in the world
like,
too.
well,
Right? Like
it's just like there's
going on
nothing
a
else
beach
for any
vacation.
for you to do or them to do.
Right.
So go motherfucking talk to them. I don't know.
One girl was losing her mind on this episode towards the end.
Like-
She was like, nobody likes me, nobody wants to talk, and just crying and just
no
done.
one's getting aroused.
there were upwards of 3 of the girls, all who have a rose to give to somebody, who were crying at the end of this episode.
I don't care.
Man,
Chris sustains himself with their tears.
he's just like, it's just like seasoning his vegetables with their tears.
Ooh, so salty.
So good. All right, James, hit it. Give it to me.
You want it? Okay.
Give it to me.
Well, the thing is, it's not the worst show we've seen, but more so now after episode 2, it's definitely lost some ticks.
Oh yeah.
I was kind of teetering after the first episode, but after this one, like this was a real shitter. I'm gonna go bottom third, but
This was a real shitter.
I'm gonna give it an 8 though. It's middle of the bottom third. Because it's not the absolute worst, and there are a couple of people in the show that I think are interesting and like to see what happens. But like just the way the show is, like I just can't bring myself to watch any more of this shit. So like for that, I'm out.
nice Shark Tank right there.
There you go.
I like it.
All right, Harrison, what you got? What
I think
you
it's-
got for me?
Pretty obvious for my comments about the show, but this is definitely a bottom third show.
Worst show you've ever seen? Yes or no?
It's among the worst shows you've
Ooh.
seen. I wouldn't say. I don't know. I think it's among the worst.
We need your James ranking though.
It is. It is.
I just want to know if it's the worst because I don't know.
I
what
think
the
that
worst
there is a trifecta of Real Housewives of New Jersey, The Celebrity Apprentice,
Oh shit!
and Bachelor in Paradise.
Damn.
Oh man. So bottom of the
Bottom
third?
3 shows.
I just think the situation that they've created is disgusting, and I didn't enjoy watching it. I don't know.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Brian, you want to give us your rating?
I kind of want to give like next week's episode like an hour in the background.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
just-
So you're not totally out yet.
The thing is, like, I think
There's a couple of
It's going to
interesting
be another
relationships.
2
right?
hours before a rose ceremony. I hope you know that.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
I don't care about the rose ceremony. Like, I'd rather.
but that's the whole point of the show. Like,
No, I want to hear like drama and shit.
So Brian,
Brian,
what,
Brian's
tell
kinda
me
in.
tell me what what are some of the things you like about the show?
So I kind of liked how they handled like the first episode. Like it did seem like okay, like this is a party, like it could happen. But what really turned me off was like okay, they handled this event like terribly. Like even if this actually happened on like any other show, they probably would have cut it and then just like go to next season. But then like they tried to.
I don't know about that. I feel like ABC did the respectable thing by ending production. I feel like a lot of
the ending production was great. It was. Just
I
like
don't
them
know if
coming
any
back.
reality show I've heard where like something questionable
I
happens
think
and they just end production and like move on.
It's commendable that they took the situation seriously and that
Yeah.
they looked at it and they shut things down.
Yeah, but they also like came back and just it felt like there was nothing like sincere about it. It just felt like dry and empty. Like it maybe like nothing
Yeah.
happened or maybe like that was scripted.
Yeah.
Right, but what I'm curious though is like, so you want to see like another episode, give it a little bit of a shot.
Yeah, like I think that like this event like just kind of
So you just kind of want to like, so like now maybe it's to give them the clean swipe and like if they move on, maybe.
yeah.
I got you.
Like, it would have been interesting to see what season 3 of the show is like. For example, the
Right.
entire beginning of it wasn't this insane situation.
I'd also be fine like watching like an episode of like season 3 or season 2 and just like see okay like this is what it's actually supposed to be. Fine.
But what's your ranking?
Still bottom third right now, but that could change like next week.
Do you want to give us your James ranking?
My James ranking? I haven't watched as many of the shows as you.
Well,
It's just a more detailed, so it's a 1 to 9.
Oh, it's
There's a top, middle,
so it's
bottom of
one,
each bracket.
1 to 9, where 1 is the best.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, is it the top, middle, or bottom of your bottom third? It's like it's like that.
How granular do you want to get, Brian?
It's like your extreme tic tac toe, where you got a tic tac toe
on a scale of 1 to
board.
1 million. I give it a no.
Well, from what you
give
said,
it
I
a
can help you
donut.
out here
I
a little
think
bit
it's like
because you
bottom-
said you're interesting, right? I would say it's like top of your bottom.
Yeah, it's top of the bottom third.
Okay, so we got a 7.
It's just like we can only judge based on what we watched, and
Yeah, but-
and it's garbage. And
No,
like,
but
I'm not,
Brian
I'm
is-
not,
no,
I'm
but
not,
there's
I'm not,
different- no, there's a
I'm not,
difference
I'm not
here.
arguing with your rating at all.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that like these ratings are coming out real low, and like this might be a good show, but like we can only judge based on what we've seen.
I thought like people changed like their opinions based on like future episodes.
People definitely do that.
No.
100%.
Part of the
Like,
decision
I mean,
factor
I've done
is
that.
would you watch it
one
again?
time
For sure.
one time,
Right,
for sure.
and so
Yeah.
like because Brian's considering watching it again, it like makes it a little higher.
Yeah, no, totally.
Versus like you're a hard no, so like
Yeah.
clearly the other spectrum.
Yeah.
Where are we at,
so
Chris?
it's clearly bottom third.
Okay,
I'm tempted to
So
put it in the
unanimous bottom
top
third.
of the bottom third, just because like I'm not motivated by the people like watching the show for what the show's like about, and I feel like if you were, the show is actually pretty interesting. But I also really dislike this Big Brother-esque situation because you don't get a good handle on everyone. If
Yeah.
you like pare this back to like something like 4 to 8 people and then rotate people in or like have them in different like I don't know, you just can't roll up with 20 people and expect me to care about any of them. And especially to see if they like maybe if it was more on the lines of having fun,
Yeah.
be more interesting, whereas like now it's just like, well, I want to pump out them babies, so like let's
they
meet.
They definitely don't do a lot of interesting, and even like the dates they go on are not. So it's just
It's
them
like-
one-on-one dinner.
It's like
and
you're on a jet ski. That's the date. Like
the jet
that
ski
was
would
one
have
of
at
the
least
dates.
been more interesting. But they barely showed it.
I mean,
Well-
I don't need to see him doing jet skis for like 5 minutes. He's just jet skiing. Like,
Yeah, they just got to do more
Nothing-
interesting things where
nothing
stuff's
crazy.
happening.
Do a
they
barrel
gotta
roll.
like do it naked or something.
That's not gonna feel good. Let me tell you.
They did that in Dating Naked.
Oh yeah.
They did jet skis in that episode we watched. And they did horseback riding too, didn't they?
They did. That was
Like that's just like not
Dicey.
things you do naked.
No,
What's I feel like naked paintball would be horrifying.
dude, they're
That
already
sounds
getting
terrible.
welts with clothes on.
I know. That's what I'm just trying to think of. Like, what's worse than like naked horseback ride? I'm like, naked paintball sounds pretty bad.
does sound pretty bad.
Hey, can anybody think that would be worse than that?
So would this show be better if everyone was naked?
They're kind of pretty mostly naked.
Yeah, it wouldn't really be that different. There would just be things blurred out instead of clothes over them.
Right.
Like, kind of. I guess.
But we wouldn't see all those fantastic bathing suits.
Dude, that one dude brought a different pair of swim trunks for every day. He's got
Yeah.
like 30 pairs of
Like,
swim trunks.
I
I
actually-
can't remember his name right now, but that was what I'm referring.
I think it was Kendall.
Oh, it's Ken doll.
So you have a good point. I think that the shows actually wouldn't be as good naked because there's a lot of interesting bathing suits out there.
The fashion is definitely part of the show.
For sure.
I mean, as is on the normal full-blown thing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and can't forget his handkerchief in his back pocket that we just thought his pocket was out.
Yeah, he's in a gang or something, just got a bandana hanging out his back pocket.
Who's the dude with the hair swoop? We didn't even talk about the dude with the hair swoop.
Same guy. We're still talking about
That's
the
also
same
the
guy.
same
All
guy?
the same guy,
Oh
dude.
my god.
So like, there's one thing about being naked that I think would affect the show a lot is like hiding arousal would be very like you can't. And
For sure.
The show's all about arousal in like many aspects, and I think that would provide an interesting wrench into the show.
So to speak.
What if we turned your beer meter idea into an arousal meter or blood
there
flow
you go,
meter?
there
Hey-o.
Didn't one of the
Heart rate
girls
monitor?
talk about like her vagina tingling or something, like as like a rating scale or something?
She said my vagina's tingling as such and such said, inferring that like that's someone's catchphrase.
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
that's
what?
something that someone says.
Has anyone ever heard
frequently.
this before? Like in that
I
using
don't-
that
I
context?
don't
Never
like
heard
like,
anyone use that
directly?
phrase.
I don't know. Yeah.
She's trying to copyright it.
Oh yeah, there you go. She's trying to make it a TV thing.
All right. So should we move to updates? Do we have anything else to say about the show? Like,
God no, please
There's this-
no.
all right,
Walk away.
let's move on to another awful episode of The Dirty 30.
Last night, I want to take issue with another awful.
All right. Another awful episode of reality TV.
We had a rough night last night. We watched that first BIP episode, and then we were right into Dirty 30, which was an uncharacteristically boring episode, I think.
So like
you are correct.
it was awful. Like I like it makes me almost want to stop watching the show.
Like, so basically, the big thing in this episode was, hey, the Redemption House people are coming back. And they basically decided to center the whole episode around this bracket-style
It was
challenge,
so long.
which was going to produce one guy and one girl to come back into the main house. And it actually ended up being
Shocking.
Tony and Jenna, who were
Spent
the
one
last
night
two
in the
people
Redemption
who
House.
got eliminated.
Did they even spend a whole night? Like they showed up in the middle of the night.
My favorite part about the Redemption, like, and you can tell if they shoot those elimination challenges super late because, like, when they show up in the Redemption House, the new people, everyone else is always dead asleep, and they turn on the lights and they're waking people up, and then they're like, you just see them trying to have these conversations
It
like
was
half
so
awake.
what happened?
It's like, who's eliminated? Who's yeah?
It's like, oh, they did that. Oh, they dirty.
Oh, they dirty. Yeah,
Well,
Like,
let me go back to bed.
I literally can't stand reality shows where like your normal format is like 2 or 3 things happening and you do one of them. Like I can't. I was just like
It was
you've
light.
slowed the show down so much. You've already wasted all my time with 20 minutes of commercials. You can at least give me some content.
I was
Like-
Hey.
real excited when they announced the challenge for this episode. I'm like, oh man, that looks awesome.
Yeah.
It's like some kind of wrestling match off of this swinging platform of like, 50, 60 feet in the air above a water
Just
pit.
not that
and,
exciting
like,
to watch.
It sounded like, but like when they announced it, you're like, oh, this is going to be awesome. And then the execution was horrible.
Well, it's not the execution's horrible. It's just
too
that, like, I
evenly
think like the
matched.
concept was just flawed because, like evenly matched wrestling is just not that exciting to watch. It's just a bunch of people holding each other on the ground.
I will say Jenna's matches were great to watch because it was not evenly matched.
Jen's a beast, yeah.
Right.
Well, I feel like the last Jenna fight, they like repeated a ton. They were
Oh,
just
yeah.
like, let me
With
do
her
this,
kicking that
then do
girl.
this, and let me kick, and then we're gonna go to
There was, like, two
commercial.
commercial
They're
breaks.
gonna come back, and then we're gonna like, let me do this again, and then we're gonna then we're gonna get back to the kicks, and then she wins. We're like,
Yeah.
I knew she was gonna win. I saw the kicks earlier. Just get to it.
They definitely showed the kicks twice.
And like, it was the worst reality show editing. Like, I'm thinking about dropping the show. Like I can't. Like, I literally can't handle this episode.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
It might drop it back down. You were top third. You have another episode like that, you're dropping. You can't be.
I think I got to knock at least a couple of points, at least down to a 3.
Yeah,
Because
I
it was
mean,
riding high after the first 3 episodes. I'm like, it's got to be at the top just by simple math. But now
I think that
it's on the cutting block.
Now they've got the Redemption House stuff out of the way.
I love how that thing just all it ended up being is they put a bunch of the losers in a house for an extra week, and then they're like, okay, now you can actually go home though because now you're permanently off the show.
Yeah,
That's
'cause-
all that
Well,
happened.
to be fair, we don't know that. They've said that, and they've
Yeah.
said that before that they were off the show.
That's true.
So they
Maybe
could
they
show
go
up
back
next.
to the Redemption House.
That'd be
again.
hilarious. The
But they can't-
redemption house.
The thing is, like, the challenge wasn't bad. It was interesting. Just don't spend 42 minutes on
it
it.
just took up way too much time.
Yeah.
I agree with you. And it's actually kind of the same problem, similar problem what we had with Bachelor in Paradise, where we went 4 hours with no rose ceremony.
No,
Like,
exactly.
Yeah. But, like, it's not, yeah. No,
Like-
it's a little bit more tolerable when it's 20 minutes instead of 4 hours, but, like, yeah, similar problem.
No.
And the thing is, I
it's
think-
not
I feel
tolerable either way.
Especially with this show, like you just don't care as much about those people because they've already lost. So you're like, whatever, like you're gone.
Well, so, like, the challenge, the normal format is you have a team event that you have winners, and then 2 losers get into, like, the elimination challenge. Then you have a voting round, and then you have the actual challenge. So in this one, you've literally done none of those things. You've sideswiped and done your own kind of challenge. And you've spent literally the whole episode. There's no drama, nothing.
This whole episode was definitely a diversion. But, like, I do think that now that the redemption house stuff is off the table, now that we bring the people back, they can focus in on the rest. There's still a shit ton of people in that
Do you
house.
think
There's still like 20 people in
Yeah.
that house. Like, they've got a lot of game to play. Like, it's crazy.
So I'm curious.
Okay.
So some shit went down in the Redemption House.
Yep.
Do you think like the producers are kind of looking at it being like, man, it's kind of a bitch to like manage both these situations and like we gotta have all these people in this places all the time. Like
Let's just bring them
maybe
back
we should
in.
just get rid of this Redemption House thing. There's already been like, you know, some violence and things that have happened. Maybe we should just like get it over with.
That's a good question. Like, did they call an audible of some sort?
Right. It's like we gotta stop dealing with this. It's too much to deal with. Let's just bring a couple people back and then just be done with that
It's
thing.
certainly a possibility.
I do
Right.
think that, like, there is that interesting dynamic that they had going for the show where it's like, well, oh, you know, this dude kicked like these 3 people off. Now they're going to try to gun for him if they
Yeah.
ever get back in the house. And I feel like they could have milked that a little more. They tried to milk it in this episode very, very poorly.
I was actually surprised that the redemption house didn't go on for longer in this season. Like, I thought it was going to go on for
Well, that's what
for
I'm saying,
longer.
right? Like
Well, like, so
it
I
seems
think that,
unclear why they did it now. Is
like,
my point.
the real right way to do it, in my opinion, is how they do on Top Chef, which we talked about previously, which is like you're the first one out, then you have to fight the person who's the second one out to stay in, and whoever wins that is to fight the third person out to stay in. You keep on chaining it
The problem is
until you're back in the finale at
But
the
the
end
problem
of
with
the
that,
season.
there's no drama in the Redemption House because there's one dude chilling.
I guess there's no drama there, but at least there's a competition or something's going on.
well, so like they can't do that all in one day because
No.
like it would be great if like okay, the first 2 people are out, right?
Yeah.
Then the next day when somebody gets kicked out, you have like another challenge between those 2 people, and
Yeah.
whoever wins that challenge stays. The people have to go.
That's basically how they handle on Top Chef.
And
yeah.
then at some point in time, you bring those. Oh, you know those people that all get kicked off. Well, they got kicked off, but these people stayed on. They're back in the game.
Yeah.
Without like having to like do this boring ass episode.
Yeah, if you just kind of do it a little bit as you go along.
Well, I feel like they were like, okay, the first half of the episode will be like the recap of why they get kicked off the show and who they like want to like gun after, and that was just super boring because we've watched the show.
Yeah.
and
Right.
like it hasn't been that long.
They definitely chose to take a whole episode to focus on bringing the Redemption House people back into the fold, and it was just too much time for it.
It looked like
It just didn't matter because the 2 people that literally just got voted off and have not been in the Redemption House at all just immediately came back on the show.
that was definitely the weird part about it. Like, if it had been
So
one of
just-
the first people off, like Devin or somebody that came back, like, a little
sure.
more
Then you're like,
interesting.
okay, now we've invested in this character again. He's back, but it's literally just like, yeah, just they're all gone now.
Although I am happy to see Big Tony get a shot at redemption here.
I mean, I'm excited to have both Tony and Jenna back in the mix.
They're both great
because
characters.
they're strong players and interesting.
Tony's not a strong player.
Tony is a big player.
He's big.
But I don't know if like he hasn't been great in some of the challenges, but I still got a lot of respect for Big Tony. He got a little bit drunk the other episode, got himself in some trouble, but now
But I respect that.
we'll see. He's got a new lease on life. Maybe he'll get right back on that right track. I don't know.
Ugh.
That's my Tony update.
Tony update.
All right. Do you want to talk about anything else? Are we?
Hopefully, next episode's better. I think the real problem was like there's none of the core people were doing anything. They're all staying on the side
They
watching.
just they just needed to they needed to take an episode. They didn't need to take the whole episode, but they needed to resolve the Redemption House.
That's
thing.
fine. They didn't.
I think
Resolve,
it just-
I was
yeah.
just said as long as like it was half the episode of Redemption
Yeah,
House,
yeah.
half real shit, then like that would have been fine.
Agreed.
How long is the season going to go? Because we have no idea. Like
No
none of this
idea.
stuff is like
Months.
It's gonna be for a while. It's like at least a couple months, I think.
I think they're going like all in on this season. It seems like in your professional challenge watching opinion, to me this feels like like they're going like pretty big on this season.
Some have said this is the biggest season of the challenge yet.
Whoa,
Right.
I feel like a professional would have seen all of the seasons of the challenge.
That's true. That's true.
I'm not quite at that level yet, but
Man.
I have seen quite a few.
I just try to give a little bit, and then the host just slaps it down. Just
Oh yeah,
just
he doesn't
rips.
deserve any praise for seeing 4 episodes of a reality show. If he's watched 30 episodes of that reality show, like my sister's a big challenge fan. I'm sure she's seen about 30 episodes. She might have seen every
30
season.
seasons or episodes?
No, I'm pretty sure she's seen every season of the challenge.
Man, we got to get her
That's
to weigh
pretty
in.
good.
She's on the East Coast. It's harder.
But she can still email us at who put this on
At
at
gmail.com.
gmail.com.
Yep.
There you go.
Yeah, new season of Rick and Morty is really good.
It
Oh,
is
shit,
Great yeah. show.
Very good.
There's some debate though I sense and some tensions on which of the first episodes some of the cast on this show tend to favor.
That's definitely true. Chris and I had a little debate the other day about
Yeah, we were talking about it.
Pickle Rick versus what's the latest one?
Vindicators 3
Vindicators 3.
colon
The thing-
the world ender.
Yeah.
The thing is that Pickle Rick is great. The first time you watch it is really great, but like most of it is like action scenes where Pickle is fighting like giant rats and like there's
Similar
some,
to the Purge episode,
There's some
kind of
some
fighting.
moments,
Yeah.
But like Vindicators 3 is just joke after joke after joke. There's jokes inside jokes, and it's just like the more I watch it, the funnier it is. And like Pickle Rick, the more I watch it, like the magic is not the same as the first time I watched it.
I think that I agree Vindicators 3's got the jokes, but I think that for me Pickle Rick was just it was a more impactful episode for me.
I
thought
don't
that,
watch Rick and
like-
Morty to like for the impactful,
Dude, but like
kid
here's the
growing
thing.
up.
Okay,
Pickle
okay,
Rick is now
but-
just a new whole character in the world. Like people are talking about
Pickle
it and
Rick.
shit. Oh man.
They were talking about it before the episode aired.
It was in the trailer
I know.
because in the trailer for the
I'm a
season they had
pickle.
like I'm Pickle Rick, look at me, I'm Pickle Rick, whatever. But I don't know. Okay, so I agree with you. Like I mostly watch Rick and Morty for the jokes and the funs and all that kind of stuff. But like I appreciate that it's a show that can go to that deeper level when it wants to.
Yeah, I mean the first 3 episodes of the season were definitely like deeper.
Yeah,
Well,
for sure.
This whole season's very deep and dark.
No, yeah,
It's the darkest. Some say the darkest season.
the
ever.
darkest
it's
season of our
never been a
adventures.
very light show.
No, it's always
So,
they've gone after some shit.
Yeah,
yeah, when they like murder when
There's
they
the
like
Purge
murder
episode.
all of human population and then like
Oh.
find another universe and just live there.
and then
And then
bury
bury
themselves in the
themselves.
backyard.
Is that Cronenberg Morty?
yeah,
Yeah,
Cronenberg World?
such a good show.
I like when they go and visit Cronenberg World again. Like I think it was the season's time. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good.
So like it's a great double feature to watch Game of Thrones and then watch Rick and Morty. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's just like the like dark place Game of Thrones gets you to. Then Rick and Morty helps you out of that dark place with humor.
Even though they talk about dark place stuff, you
Like
could
it's in a
still-
dark
yeah,
place,
it's fun.
but it's also like
It's fun dark.
It's more up.
It's I will say it's replacing the Silicon Valley void nicely.
Yeah, it's kind of light. It's nice.
Need something easy. I've also been watching Ballers.
Ballers.
After, Goat.
I have not.
no Ballers for you?
How's it going?
I just didn't
It's
care
been-
enough about seasons 1 and 2. I dropped it.
So I think that season 2, the first half of season 2 is probably the weakest part of the whole series.
That's when I dropped off.
And so I think for those that dropped off around there, if you can get past that, I think the season 3 has been pretty fun so far. The Rock has had like some hell of a few moments. Like The Rock is dropping a lot of F-bombs these days.
Great.
And it's great.
Do they actually bring his like? They've been teasing his character like being addicted to pills and like his history, and they've like brought up zero of that in 2 seasons, and it like
He just like occasionally
they
goes
definitely
to like
address that.
He just occasionally goes to like a doctor's appointment. There's like you really shouldn't be taking all these pills. And he's like, I know that. Can I get some more pills?
yeah, and they just like don't
there's
deal with it.
definitely some things that are starting to arise. I don't want to go too many spoilers in case anybody's watching out there. But yeah, there's definitely some more deeper topics coming up with
Just,
The Rock.
Like, you had 2 seasons, and I'm like,
The fun thing that's not a big time spoiler with this one is it's more focused. It looks like I'm bringing an NFL team to Las Vegas. So he's kind of like flying across the country trying to work deals, talking with different NFL things or some cameos. So that's been kind of fun.
Yeah, I actually just started watching season 3, and I just didn't finish the second half of season 2 at all. And it seems like I haven't missed much. Like it's been okay.
Yeah, you could pretty much watch like the last season of season 2 or something, and you'll catch
Yeah.
up pretty quickly.
I watched Ozark.
Oh yeah, how is that?
Ozark is pretty good.
What is Ozark?
So Ozark, the premise is there's an accountant in Chicago that he is like laundering money at his firm for the mob. And
Brian could not be more intrigued by this
Brian's
story.
face down on the floor.
Full face plant while you're talking.
and he like his partner like starts embezzling money from the mob, and like shit goes down, and he promises the mob that, hey, I'm gonna go to the Ozarks and clean $8 million in like 3 months.
How?
That's the show.
That's the show.
He's
the
going to
show
launder
is
the
like-
shit out of that money.
So he's like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go to the Ozarks and run away from these debtors.
Yeah, there's
Like, or
no
whatever,
like
like
real
predators.
reason for him to go to the Ozarks, but it's like interesting to see like this guy, like he's like his life is on the line and he's doing this shit. He's doing a lot of shit to get like clean this money.
Chris, what kind
I'm
of shit is he
excited.
doing?
I don't know if I want to know this shit. I might just want to see it.
I'm not going to tell you. I'm
Okay,
just saying
okay.
like
It's kind of
But good shit.
yeah, like
Okay.
I said, like what I said was probably in the first like half hour of the
Okay.
first episode, so it didn't really
Yeah.
spoil a lot.
Yeah.
But like the show moves. It's not like Breaking Bad where like you know where it's going, but it's kind of slow. It's pretty quick.
How do I watch this show?
It's on Netflix.
Netflix, okay.
Netflix.
Oh yeah.
Bing Bong? No, that's NBC. Shit. I don't know why I went to a Jack Nicholas.
What?
Bing Bong
Jack
Boom.
Nicholas.
Oh shit!
What?
That's definitely not Jack. Nicholas.
Oh, he's off the rails.
All right.
he's talking about retired golfers again.
all right. I think that
Golden
it
Bear.
signals the end when Jack Nicholas comes out.
Dude, Golden Bear.
You can follow us on Twitter at Who Put This On. You can find us on Facebook.com/Who Put This On. Please email us questions at whoputthison@gmail.com. Please rate us on iTunes.
Or wherever you get your podcasts.
We have like 1 rating on iTunes. It would
Hey,
be great.
don't say that.
We
We have a lot of
18
ratings on
we have
iTunes.
1 million ratings on iTunes.
The
So
ratings
like,
are
we're
the
starting this
biggest
relationship
ratings that
line.
we've ever seen. They're nothing but the best ratings. We love our
only
fans.
have the best ratings. So
We got to pull the ripcord on this bit. It's no good as a terrible bit.
all right, see you guys. Oh, by the way, next week we're probably not gonna have a cast. So see you guys in 2 weeks.
Bye.